Halloween, everybody.
We're reading Jeff the Killer. Because it's been years, and I doubt anyone cares anymore.
Hopefully, somebody's gonna get mad.
Somebody's gonna care.
Somebody's
But
gonna get mad.
Basically, after all these years, and we're adults now, so
We're adults.
We can do this properly. We're gonna critique the entirety of this. Because it's bad.
Keywords critique, because we didn't write a script or anything, so this isn't a review. This is just a running commentary. We're just gonna read it. We're gonna comment on it.
Yeah, so happy Halloween, Jeff the Killer.
Yeah.
It's spooky.
And I made an animation for this. Do you see it? Isn't it good? Okay, stop looking at it, because it's just gonna be that for the entirety of the video. Well, you can just keep looking at it if you want to. It's such a good animation, right?
So good.
Lovely.
Now stop looking at it.
Stop it.
Stop.
Stop. Anyways. Ominous unknown killer still at large. After weeks of unexplained murders, the ominous unknown killer. I'm sorry. That was just really funny.
It's fine. Keep going.
After weeks of unexplained murders, the ominous unknown killer is still on the rise. After little evidence has been found, a young boy states that he survived one of the killer's attacks and bravely tells his story. I had a bad dream, and I woke up in the middle of the night, says the boy. I saw that, for some reason, the window was open, even though I remember it being closed before I went to bed.
Spooky.
I got up and I shut it once more. Afterwards, I simply crawled under my covers and tried to get back to sleep.
Man, this is just how a child talks.
Yeah.
It's just how a child talks.
That's when I had a strange feeling, like someone was watching me. It says lulled, I'm assuming they meant
I
looked.
lulled?
Yeah, we're reading in...
Nice little typo, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
It happens.
I looked up and nearly jumped out of my bed. There, in the little ray of light illuminating from between my curtains, were a pair of two eyes. He's 16. He's taken 3 English classes.
He's not even 16. No one talks like this. It's fine. Keep going.
You made me lose my place. These weren't regular eyes. They were dark, ominous eyes. Oh, they use ominous so often. That's not what we have a problem with of the story,
not what we
by
have
the
a
way.
problem with. But already, just finish your paragraph, and then I want to talk about something.
They were bordered in black.
They were bordered?
Yeah. And just plain out terrified me. That's when I saw his mouth, a long, horrendous smile that made every hair on my body stand up. The figure stood there watching me. Finally, after what seemed like forever, he said it, a small phrase. But he said it in a way only a madman could speak. He said, "Go to sleep." I let out a scream.
He didn't listen. He told you to go to sleep.
That's what sent him at me. He pulled up a knife, aiming at my heart.
You didn't listen.
He jumped on top of my bed. I fought him back. I kicked. I punched. I rolled around. I tried trying to knock him off me. That's when my dad burst in. The man threw the knife. It went into my dad's shoulder. The man probably would have finished him off if one of the neighbors hadn't alerted the police. Okay, so something about that.
How old is this child?
So I'm assuming the neighbors would have alerted the police at the scream.
I would assume.
And there's absolutely no way they would have been there between the time the dad ran in. If the person alerted the police when the child screamed, it would take, minimum 10 minutes to get there. You have plenty of time to kill the dad and then get out.
No, you know what? The police station was right next door. They live right next door to the police station.
It's just we live really close to a police station. It's going to take them at least 10 minutes for them to get it to us. Because the 911 operator has to report it to the police, and then they have to get into their cars
have a weird
and then drive down. Unless, there was a police car driving, right down, which is just terrible planning on the killer's part. How did he manage to kill this many people if he had that terrible planning?
It's a pretty bad serial killer. But, okay, here's already, I want to point out something that I just...
This clearly isn't a kid.
Clearly it's not a kid. No kid talks like that. No person really talks like that unless they're writing a novel. So, I mean, that's not a statement you give to the police as a child or an adult. That's just not a statement you give. But also, I'm confused by the start of this because from my understanding of what creepypastas are, is that there was a forum where you were told to take a picture or something that was scary looking and then write a story for it. Um,
And that
and
picture's actually like
it's
really, really creepy.
it's awful. I
I
hate
can't
looking
look
at
at
it.
it.
I don't want to
It's
look
so
at
gross.
it.
I'm really happy that whoever put the original story on Wattpad for some reason, they used like one of those emo drawings of them,
It's
which
very
I
nice.
appreciate so much.
It's so much better than the original. But okay. But so the way they're supposed to work is I think they're supposed to be like a first person account of like the myth that you're making. Like you're making up a myth. So like this one already is just like you just wrote a novel. Like the point of a creepypasta is supposed to be this could be real. Ooh, it's an urban myth. It could be real. But like they've already started off this story by being like, no, this is definitely not real because you're just making it a novel. Like it's just a novel. And I feel like it would
I
have
feel like
been
they put up the blinds of it being a real story, but they like
yeah, they
very
didn't do it.
poorly.
Yeah, they didn't do it very well. Like I
Um,
feel like if they really wanted to make it a true story, like because right here they started off with there's like a killer that's going around, like he's new, he's like it's weird, no one can figure out who he is, like the police can't do it. So then it's just like with that, then maybe it's like
Although they know his first name.
they do know his first name. I'm surprised that they haven't figured it out, but I feel like they shouldn't have made it anonymous.
Wouldn't even matter if they did figure it out.
Because here's what
But that's
this,
based on the other, like the rest of the story. So
yeah.
just
Here's what this would be for me right off the bat of the way I would write this because this is just how I'm going to critique is how I would write it. So it's not too scientific of a way to fix your story, but here's how I would write it. So like I feel like if we're going with the idea of like a creepypasta should be either first person or should be considered like a myth, then I feel like you should start with maybe you're someone's neighbor and your neighbor was killed in a certain way and the murder itself when the police investigated and because you were so close to it you noticed that there was similarities with like past killings in like recent years something like that so you're like oh it's similar to this like serial killer I've been hearing about on the news so then maybe the serial killer's already kind of known or something about him's already known that like you can easily look up like he has like a trademarks and like his name like his like trademark name because I know there's like a serial killer at one point that was called the Axeman, which is a great name that the media gave him, but he would always use an axe. So then it's like you can then look that up and you can figure out things about him and like serial killers that have been found and investigated and sent to jail thankfully you can figure out stuff about their past and I feel like if because what they're trying to do is they're trying to I know later they're going to talk about his childhood Jeff the Killer's childhood. So like then
yeah,
it would
I
make more
forgot how they
sense.
changed narrative there. I'm not sure whose
Yeah, I don't
perspective
know.
it's from.
Yeah,
so
I
I
don't
think
know
we
what
should just wait
perspective.
on that note till we get there.
Yeah, but I feel like definitely the way they may have should have started this has been like a person is now investigating and just going on the internet trying to figure out what is this killer like stuff
Yeah,
stuff
like there
about
are
him.
theorists online that like compile all the information found and like give sources and things. So I feel like if I was to do a creepypasta, that's kind of how I would piece it together. I would put up fake sources and stuff. Like here's like a
Yeah, like
picture
you
that
want to
somebody
develop
took.
an urban myth. Like
Yes.
you don't want to make it just a novel, which this person has.
Yeah, but that's not even the biggest problem we have
Yeah,
with
no,
this.
but continue
Um,
with this not child's.
They dove into the parking lot
Dialogue.
and ran towards the door. The man turned and ran down the hallway. I heard a smash, like glass breaking. As I came out of my room, I saw the window that was pointed towards the back of my house was broken.
That's a weird sentence.
That's a weird sentence. I looked out of it to see him vanish into the distance. I can tell you one thing. I never forgot that face, the cold, evil eyes, and that psychotic smile. They will never leave my head.
I mean, there's a lot more wrong with his face than just those from those pictures. So I mean,
Those pictures
the whole
are
face
terrifying.
would not leave my mind.
Whoever made that picture,
But-
it just has a good grasp on what will freak people out.
Yeah,
'Cause
like,
that's
it's
terrifying.
Like,
Like, how is seriously though, based on how internet famous Jeff the Killer is, how has nobody made a movie off of that? Like, how is
just
that?
the image?
How has
I
that
don't know.
slipped past those people who make horror movies every year?
Creepypastas mostly like in like
Yeah, but
creepypastas were
Slender Man now has like 2 video games and like a
true.
short
But I mean, I
series.
feel like creepypastas in themselves were more like they were more tuned towards 13-year-olds.
Well,
Like,
sure, but like
true.
those shitty Halloween movies that come out every year.
True.
There's like
I mean,
20 shitty Halloween movies, and
I
and
feel
like
like-
people are like, these 2 are okay.
maybe it's because of not. Maybe it's because of how poorly written the original Jeff the Killer is.
I don't know. Yes, but I don't think big studios care about how
Maybe.
well written their scripts
I
are
mean, but
sometimes.
they really did miss their mark since they didn't do it.
Yeah, they can't
already.
do it
They
now.
can't do it now.
They can't do it now.
That's just a joke. You can't do it now.
Like they're doing a FNAF movie, and this seems like in the same ballpark. If they had done it earlier,
They've done it in
way
time.
earlier, yeah. But
no, 'cause this is so old. Why would you ever?
the police are still on the lookout for this man. If you see anyone that fits the description in this sort, please contact your local police department.
Wait. What'd they title that?
This one? The Feeling.
The Feeling.
Oh, Maya has a lot of feelings about the feeling. We're gonna see those feelings about the feeling.
Read it.
Jeff and his family had just moved into a neighborhood. His
Whose
dad
point
had
of view are we
gotten...
in?
Huh?
Whose point of view are we in? Just third person omniscient? Is that what we're in?
It seems like it, just based on that first sentence. It seems like it. If I had written this, because we are going off this as if I had written this,
Yeah.
I would have done it from the perspective of his brother, which, spoiler alert, I do believe lives.
Yeah. I think for sure, the way you should have done this is the first part sounds like they're just trying to make it a police report, which is fine, but you probably need to investigate what a police report looks like. And then also how a child would talk. But, first thing, definitely, my motto, and so is everyone else's motto, is write what you know in the context of, if you're going to write it, you should research it. Mm-hmm. You can't just go into something blind. You have to research what you're doing. So, the first part should have been, let me look up what a police report would be like. Let me write the police report. The next part would be, I went and interviewed somebody. I went and interviewed the killer's brother. And then you get his, point of view.
Yeah.
So already it's kind of iffy because we're in third person omniscient.
I don't even think they're trying to do a police report right here, because they do direct quotes, which automatically kind of ruins any terms of trying to make this seem like something that actually happened, because they're not doing it in what I would do, the brother's perspective, and then he would know what it said. But yeah, I'm just gonna go on. His dad had gotten a promotion at work, and they thought it would be best to live in one of those fancy neighborhoods. There's quotation marks around fancy. Jeff and his little brother...
What is it?
Liu?
What is it?
How do you pronounce that? Lou?
I guess it would be Lou, but it looks like Liu. It looks like a weird... I feel like they must have been trying
Jeff and Liu, though. That doesn't sound...
I feel like they were trying to make... I think they were trying to just spell Lou, and I think they just...
No, they do it multiple times. This isn't like a...
Oh, okay. So it's multiple Lius? So it's not just they missed the O and they hit I by mistake.
Yeah, I think this is on purpose.
Okay, so
I'm sorry
Liu.
if anybody has that name.
I
don't know how to pronounce it.
Let's just say Lou.
I'm just going to say Lou.
It's Jeff and Lou.
Jeff and his brother Lou couldn't complain, though. A new, better house. What was not to love? As they were getting unpacked, one of the new neighbors came by. "Hello," she said. "I'm Barbara. I live across the street from you." "Well, I just wanted to introduce myself and to introduce my son." She turned and called over her shoulder, "Billy, these are our new neighbors." Billy said hi and ran back to play on his yard. That seemed pointless.
Yeah. I mean, just introduce Billy, but pick a better name, but introduce Billy. But then,
their names are fine.
But have them interact. Don't just have them hi and then run away.
It's fine. "Well," said Jeff's mom, "I'm Margaret." That's weird. "Well, I'm Margaret, and this is my husband Peter, and my 2 sons Jeff and Lou." They each introduced themselves, and then Barbara invited them to her son's birthday party. Jeff and his brother were about to object when their mother said they would love to. Then Jeff and his family were done unpacking, Jeff went up to his mother. "Mom, why would you invite us to some kid's party? If you haven't noticed, I'm not some kid," he said, looking at her with his blue-colored eyes.
How old is he? Don't say
blue-colored eyes.
Whoa, wait
blue-colored eyes.
No, just say blue eyes if you're gonna do that. He just has blue. They're not colored. Just say blue eyes. You don't need to. But I feel like already we've kind of had a sequence of somewhat important events because it's like, oh, they just moved.
Remind me of The Thing.
Huh?
The Thing?
The Thing?
Yeah, from the Fantastic Four.
I'm confused. Wait.
The ever-loving blue-eyed thing.
Oh.
My Aunt Petunia.
Don't. Stop yourself. Listen. I feel like we had a sequence of events of somewhat important because you're getting that they've just moved into this neighborhood, so they're new. So that's fine. All the unpacking, that's fine. That's a good sequence to have.
Yeah, I feel like we could talk about this forever if we talk about, like...
just nitpick
like
everything.
Yeah, if we nitpick, like, how they're telling the story too much, because we are doing this more of, like, of Jeff the Killer as a character, but I do want to point out, why would he wait till they were completely unpacked to talk to his mom about this?
Like, I feel
that would be something where I would wait until the other mother was out of listening range to talk to her about. I wouldn't wait till...
Yeah, you'd wait until she'd walk away, and then you'd be like, Mom, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Like, that's not something you, like, wait and let fester for a bit, and then go ask your mom.
Yeah,
like, you're gonna do it pretty
that's a little weird.
But, I mean, that's fine, though.
Yeah, that's just nitpicky. We're just nitpicky. Jeff, said his mother, we just moved here, and should... how? But we want to spend time with our neighbors. I tried with that sentence.
Gotta love typos.
Now, we are going to that party, and that is final. Jeff started to talk. Bug stopped himself. Okay, just so everybody knows, it's always a typo. I'm not just fucking up.
I love typos, though. They're great.
Because I sound kind of stupid, but it's just typos, guys.
Oh, man, your laugh really loves to peak the mic, though.
I'm sorry. Knowing that he couldn't do anything, whatever his mom said, it was final. He walked up to his room and plopped down on his bed. He sat there looking at the ceiling when suddenly he got a weird feeling.
Oh, there it is. There's that feeling.
Not so much a pain, but a weird feeling.
A feeling.
He dismissed it as just some random feeling. He heard his mother call him down to get his stuff, and he walked down to get it and asked. Okay. So, another nitpicky, and I'll try to stop, but they said feeling like 3 times in a row.
He just got this feeling.
He got a feeling.
See, but it's funnier to me.
He got a murder feeling.
He just got that murder feeling. He got that murder feeling.
And that is 100% our biggest problem with Jeff the Killer. One day he just got that murder feeling.
Because that's also what they call it. They call it a murder feeling. Which is why? Well, you don't just get those. That's not a thing.
Which has become like an inside joke for us, by the way. We just love murder feeling.
Just got that murder feeling.
Love that murder feeling.
Because here's the thing. You're saying that you just got this feeling. Which already, in the context of if this is a serial killer, you've already ruined it. Because that's not how serial killers work. They don't just get a feeling. That's how, like, a passionate type of... Like when the killers who, like, end up, like... You have a beaten wife who ends up murdering their husband because it's a passionate type of thing. And it's like just one fit of anger resulted in that. And they're not like serial killers, but they are murderers. But so you resulted in what you were going to get as a murderer, not a serial killer. And that's why I'm like, you need to do your research on what you're writing. If you're going to write a serial killer, research serial killers. Like, you have to. Because you don't know, hopefully. Hopefully you don't know. So you got to research that.
Yeah, I feel like the person who wrote this is like 13. And we always say 13, but isn't it always a 13-year-old? And like... They haven't ever gone to, like, an intro to psych class. Yeah,
no. It's once you get that intro to psych class, you start to be like, oh, you know what, that was actually kind of a bad idea. That's not how you write these type of characters. But also, it's just feeling. This is, like, starting to be, like, where I'm like, you can't, you're telling people he got a feeling. You need to show people he got a feeling. Mm-hmm. Like, give us hints of what he's doing, of what, like, he's thinking. Don't just suddenly be like, he got a feeling. Because that doesn't tell me anything. What kind of feeling? What did he feel? All we know is it wasn't pain. That's it.
And also, it's not like a spontaneous, I killed one person. This was like a spur of the moment thing, like crime of passion. This was like, I become a serial killer.
Yeah, this story is a person becomes a serial killer, so you have to, like...
It's very weird that he's like, however old he is, I don't know. How old is he supposed to be, like 16? I don't know. But however old he is, and he's just moved, and now he suddenly is feeling
Yeah,
like
and
murder.
I think what they're also trying to do, I don't know if they went that
Don't
far.
most serial killers, like, when they're
Serial
young, they
killers
burn
start,
down houses,
yeah,
or they
serial
kill
killers
animals,
start
or...
as children, because I watch the ID channel like a crazy person, so I know a lot about just because they always have these documentaries about serial killers and arsonists and stuff like that, because they're criminals, so they're gonna talk about them on the ID channel. And they're like what tends to happen is if you have a person who becomes a serial killer, a serial arsonist, like something where they're clearly doing something terrible and they're hurting people, and repeatedly and like meticulously, what tends to happen is it started from childhood, but it's not just a spontaneous thing. It's like they like work up to it. Because I've also read a book that did this type of thing a lot better, obviously, because it was a novel. That a kid found a journal of a serial killer, and he flipped through it, and it's basically from childhood to where he is now, of just like maybe they hurt an animal or something like that, or they've burned things, or they've taken things from people and they've violently broken them. Like they start very small, and then they work up to the serial killer, which is when you need to start focusing on like, oh, that child's not behaving quite right. Let's get some help. But like, so you with Jeff the killer, they didn't do that, and that's what doesn't make a serial killer. This is just a kid who later is just has the worst week, month, however long this story goes. He just had a really bad time at his new house and became a serial killer. Like it doesn't
Yeah,
work.
you'll see later on in the story. It's kind of weird that like Jeff is supposed to be the bad guy, and I'm not going to go into it very far.
Yeah,
because we haven't gotten
weird.
there yet. But it's very weird. I'm just going to keep reading now.
They made a very sympathetic character, is what they ended up doing.
Yeah. The next day, Jeff walked down the stairs to get breakfast. No. And got ready for school as he sat there eating his food. But once again, he got that feeling.
He had that feeling, though.
It's not how you write mornings. This time, it was...
He walked down those stairs and he got breakfast. It's so morning.
It's reminding me of the beginning of Friday.
Just
gotta get to school, gotta get cereal. No.
I don't want to hear about Friday.
Okay.
Now it's in my head.
This time it was stronger. It gave him a slight tugging pain, but once again he dismissed it. As he and Lou finished breakfast, the way they spell Lou is really getting me. They walked down to the bus stop. They sat there waiting for the school bus, and then all of a sudden, some kid on a skateboard jumped over them, only inches over their laps. They were sitting.
Okay, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. That kid's like amazing. If he jumped over their heads.
Yeah, I think they're sitting on the street corner.
Okay, then that makes more sense.
Yeah, they jumped over their laps.
Logistically, that could make more sense.
They both jumped back in surprise. Hey, what the hell? I read that weird. Hey, what the hell? Jeff scolded. The kid landed, turned back to them. He kicked his skateboard up and caught it in his hands. The kids... I'm sorry, that was weird. The kid seemed to be about 16, 1 year younger than Jeff. Jeff is 17.
He's
and
17
a year older
years
than
old?
Lou. Lou is 15. He wears an Aeropostale shirt and ripped blue jeans. No! Never say the brand of the shirt.
Don't say the brand of the shirt.
Never say the brand of the shirt.
But here's, oh my god, because I thought for the longest time Jeff was just like a tiny child. But Jeff's 17.
Yeah, he's 17. Well, I mean, that way it's okay for everybody to draw real sexy pictures.
God, I hate those pictures, but yeah. Oh my god. So,
you know, just once, I want to see a sexy picture of Jeff the Killer, but with the original face.
No, you don't want to see that.
Just the original, really terrifying face.
No, you don't want to see that.
But just on, like, a real sexy bod.
You can just edit that. You can just...
No, I'm not doing that.
You can just get a nice...
That would require me to look at the face.
You can just get a nice stock photo and go into Photoshop.
No, I can't do that. It would require me to look at the face.
You would, yeah.
When I was drawing the picture, the intro picture that I'm sure all of you are still looking at,
yeah,
the one that's
just
still
love
going,
it.
it's still going. I looked at it for about 2 seconds. I was like, got it, done. Never looking at that again. So, it's really creepy.
It's pretty creepy.
Well, it looks like we got some new meat. We're 90s bullies. Suddenly, 2 other kids appeared. It said kidda. One was super skinny and the other was huge. Oh my god, this
That's
is a
not-
90s movie. How did no, like, big budget movie makers who are like, we're gonna make movies that are 10 years out of date, not pick this up? This is perfect.
It's just a 90s movie, but with a serial killer at the
There's
end.
a skinny one, and there was a big one, and there's one that was riding a skateboard.
At least we
Looks
know
like
where
we've
this...
got new meat.
I guess
I'm wearing an Aeropostale shirt.
we know where this person got their inspiration from, though. Just a whole bunch of 90s movies.
Yeah. He watched the original Karate Kid. It was just like, this is it. This is
it.
what I want to write. Well, since we're here, I'd like to introduce ourselves. Over here is Keith. It's Keith.
It's Keith.
Jeff and Lou looked over to the skinny kid. He had a droopy face that you would expect a sidekick to have.
Don't do... Okay, I don't know if they're trying to be like, haha, it's meta, or if they're just writing this badly. Because you don't do that. You don't do that.
I think they're trying to say, haha, it's meta, but they're doing it.
They're not doing a great job. Like, you really have to try so hard to make it meta. So if they're trying to make it meta, props to them for trying.
Mm-hmm.
But also, if you're not trying to make it meta, please don't do that. Don't do that. That's bad. That's just bad writing.
And
You've
he's
just made
Troy.
bad character. His name's Troy.
They looked over at the fat kid. He's the fat one.
He's the fat one. Just...
Talk about a tub.
What happened?
Talk about a tub of lard.
No! What?
This kid looked like he hadn't exercised since he was crawling. That was a terrible
Is this okay, so is this like third person omniscient, or is this third person but Jeff centric?
Jeff centric.
Okay, because if it's Jeff centric, Jeff, stop. You're so mean.
Yeah, stop being mean,
Such a
Jeff.
mean boy. Stop it. These kids are also younger than you. They're like a year younger.
Like, first you were
You're
a serial
17.
killer, but now you're gonna be mean?
You're gonna be mean?
How dare you, Jeff?
Also, he's 17. Come on.
Yeah, Jeff.
Be more mature than this.
You should know better, Jeff.
You should know better, Jeff.
Jeff.
Jeff?
And I, said the first kid, am Randy. Okay. Now, for all the kids in this neighborhood, there is a small price for bus fare, if you catch my drift. Lou stood up, ready to punch the lights out of the kid's eyes.
The kid's eyes.
When one of his friends pulled a knife on him. Tisk, tisk. See, this is
He
really...
just has a knife.
This
He
is
just
really,
has
really 90s kids. Like, it's only ever the 90s when the bullies were just down for murder.
Yeah, honestly, the 90s, the kids just wanted that. They just wanted murder.
Like, once again, like, Karate Kid, I think they, like, tried to, like, kill him with the tractor or something.
What is
I haven't
going on?
watched
What is
Karate
going
Kid in
on with
forever.
90s teenagers?
I don't know.
What happened in the 90s? Well, I guess technically the 80s, because that's when they were born. What happened in the 80s that made all these 90s kids just want murder in these movies?
I have no idea. Tisk, tisk.
No one.
I had hoped you would
don't
be
do that.
more cooperative, but it seems we must do this the hard way. The kid walked up to Lou and took his wallet out of his pocket. Jeff got the feeling again.
He got that feeling.
He got that feeling. Now it was truly strong. A burning sensation.
See, okay, thank you. Now you give us an actual sensation that he's feeling.
Although
Doesn't-
burning's weird for
Burning's a
murder
weird
feeling.
one. I feel like now he's just gotten heartburn. I
Yeah.
think now he just has heartburn. So it picked a weird feeling to equate it to. But you know, they're showing us something instead of just being like, he got a feeling that one time.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that feeling he got yesterday? Also, such rapid. Like he just
A
got it.
pulling sensation. A pulling sensation to what? Murder.
Wait.
What?
Read that again.
No, I said that. That wasn't in there.
Thank God. Because I was like, they did not just say that. That is
No,
not
no,
an
no, that
actual
was
line.
me making a
Oh,
joke.
thank God. Okay, continue though.
It was me trying to be funny.
Either way, it was in fact very funny.
He stood up, but his older brother Lou... Hang on.
Wait, I thought it was his younger brother. What?
He was 1 year younger than Jeff and a year older than Lou. He stood up, but his older brother Lou gestured him to sit down. Jeff ignored him and walked up to the kid.
That's a weird continuity error. Whoopsies.
I can see the other part where they say the ages. That is very
They could
strange.
They did
I
not.
saw it. It's in the same page.
They didn't check this at all. They just wrote it and then posted it.
Of course they did.
But still.
Listen here, you little punk. Give back my bro's wallet or else. Randy put the wallet in his pocket and pulled out his own knife. Oh, and what will you do? Just as he finished the sentence, Jeff popped the kid in the nose. Popped him. As Randy reached for his face, Jeff grabbed the kid's wrist and broke it.
Oh, whoa, okay. Little
Ow!
little extreme there. Also very strong.
Jesus.
Just
They don't explain how he broke his wrist, and I know it's a weird
it.
thing, because you can't break wrists. It's just like...
Tell me how he did it.
Does he know how to do that? How does he know
Because like,
how to break a kid's wrist?
You're showing an action scene, but you've glossed over all the action. Tell us how he did it. Not that just happened.
But we get to know that he was wearing Aeropostale. That's important.
Mm-hmm.
Randy screamed, and Jeff grabbed the knife from his hand. Troy and Keith rushed Jeff, but he was too quick. He threw Randy to the ground. Keith lashed out at him, but Jeff ducked and stabbed him in the arm. Keith dropped his knife and fell to the ground screaming.
Wait a minute. When did
Troy rushed him too, but Jeff didn't even need the knife. He punched Troy straight in the stomach, and Troy went down. Luke could do nothing but look in amazement at Jeff. Okay, go.
When did he get a knife?
Tell them it was me. That's the chapter name.
When did he get a knife, though? Wasn't there just one knife? There was one knife that Randy had. Did Jeff just have a pocket knife on him?
Keith also had
Keith also... Okay, so there were two knives. There were two?
Yeah, both sidekicks had a knife.
Okay, so he just stole a knife from them, but I didn't catch that, I guess.
Jeff, how did you... That was all Luke could say, but he saw the bus coming and knew they'd be blamed for the whole thing, so they started running as fast as they could. As they ran, they looked back and saw the bus driver rushing over to Randy and the others. As Jeff and Lou made it to school, they didn't dare tell what happened. All they did was sit and listen. Lou just thought of that as his brother beating up a few kids. I don't know, don't ask. But Jeff knew it was more. It was something scary.
Okay, so Lou was like, oh, my brother just beat up some bullies. But Jeff's like, no, I know what I did. I know what I wanted. Like, he was doing that type of thing.
Well, he knew it was scary. Like, I think he was like, oh shit, this feeling. I gotta get this feeling in
control.
This is also,
they made him a very sympathetic character because he knows what he's doing is wrong. And he feels bad about it. The problem is, that's not how that works. No one becomes a serial killer and regrets it. Like, they're bad people.
Mm-hmm.
They're very bad people. So they made a very sympathetic young man here.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's not a good plan for this story, but continue.
As he got that feeling, he felt how powerful it was. The urge to just hurt someone. See, that's better description.
So the feeling is now, and no longer just a feeling, it's an urge to hurt somebody.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's what you should have started with.
He didn't like how it sounded, but he couldn't help feeling happy. He felt that strange feeling go away and stay away for the entire day of school. Even as he walked home due to the whole thing near the bus stop and how now he probably wouldn't be taking the bus anymore, he felt happy. When he got home, his parents asked him how his day was, and he said, in a somewhat ominous tone,
why is he doing it ominously?
It was a wonderful day.
Okay, now he's just crazy. What is he doing?
Next morning, he heard a knock at his front door.
That's not how you talk to your parents.
He walked down to find two police officers at the door. His mother looked back at him with an angry look. Jeff, these officers tell me you attacked 3 kids. And it wasn't just a regular fighting, that they were stabbed. Stabbed, son.
Wait, it wasn't just a regular fighting.
They were stabbed.
They were stabbed.
Stabbed, son. They were stabbed. Stabbed.
Stabbed, son. Okay, some weird dialogue
Jeff's gaze fell to the floor, showing his mother that it was true. Mom, they were the ones who pulled the knives on me and Lou. Son, said one of the cops, we found 3 kids, 2 stabbed, 1 having a bruise on his stomach, and we have witnesses proving that you fled the scene. Now what does that tell us?
Less of fled, more like just got on the bus and the bus driver didn't stop to check the kids who were just on the ground. I think that's just negligence on the bus drivers.
No, the bus driver went out to check on Randy.
Did they?
Specifically Randy and not Keith, who was
Just not
stabbed.
Keith, who was stabbed. So yeah, still negligence. Also, okay, so no, but here's the thing. The bus driver went out to check, and then got back in the bus, and then drove the kids to school, and didn't help Randy.
Okay, they didn't specifically say that they drove the kids to school or
Okay.
didn't help them.
They
Like,
just-
that
they
wasn't
just
something
got
that
to-
was said.
Not, but
Like,
yeah,
for
but
all we
nothing-
know, they called the police and those kids were really late to school.
I mean, I guess. Except for Keith, who was stabbed, who needs to go to the
Like,
hospital.
what probably happened is they called the police, who are just, like, insane reaction time in this universe.
True, yeah. They
And they were here, they were in about 30 seconds. And
then
then
it took them 8 hours to get to
yeah, they
Jeff's
took
house.
the entire day. They took the entire school day plus the night. They're there the next morning.
What even happened? But
Maybe they were waiting for the kids to wake up because I guess they were all passed out, even though
I
stab wounds
guess.
don't make you pass out.
I mean,
Unless they
sure.
were losing a ton of blood.
Maybe.
But then that one guy was just punched in the stomach, so he should have
He's
been
fine.
awake. But yeah, they should have gone.
I'm confused.
They should have They should have gone to like the school and gotten them. I don't know why.
Yeah, the timeline is weird, and I don't understand what's happening. Honestly, they shouldn't even have gone to school. They should have just told an adult, and maybe they wouldn't have been in trouble.
Yeah, but they didn't think that through.
True. Oh, here's the part that I'm just like, you don't understand how police work, but continue.
Jeff knew it was no use. They could say him and Lou had been attacked, but then there was no proof it was not them who attacked first.
No, there would be.
They couldn't say that they weren't fleeing because, truth be told, they were. So Jeff couldn't defend himself or Lou.
I mean,
Son,
he could. They aren't
call
gonna-
down your brother. Jeff couldn't do it since it was him who beat up the kids. Sir, it was me. I was the one who beat up the kids. Lou tried to hold me back, but he couldn't stop me. The cop looked at his partner and they both nodded. They both nod. Well, kid,
You know-
looks like a year in juvie.
See, okay, this or immediately.
Okay, that's super weird.
That's
They,
not how
he
that
didn't get
works.
a trial.
The cops
a judge
just-
didn't say. It was the cops were like, year.
The cops just
We
judged
know how
him.
long.
That's not how law works.
This is the RoboCop
This
universe.
is the RoboCop universe.
I am the judge, jury, and executioner.
So, like, but it's just like they just looked.
I am your local police officer.
They just looked at each other and went, "Yep, you're in juvie." It's like,
1
what?
year.
It's like, no, it's just, no, we're going to take you down to the station. We're going to ask you some questions. We're going to ask your brother some questions. We're going to ask the kids you beat up some questions. And then we're going to see what's going to happen later.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't, it's too fast. Like, this is too fast.
Wait, says Lou. They looked up to see him holding a knife. The officers pulled their guns and locked them on Lou.
Just on a
It
child!
was me.
In
I
his
beat
own
up those
house!
little punks. I have the marks to prove it. He lifted up his sleeves to reveal cuts and bruises, as if he was in a struggle. Son, put the knife down, said the officer. Lou held up the knife and dropped it to the ground, but he kept his hands up, walking over to the cops.
They pulled a
No,
gun on a
Lou, it was
child.
me. I did it, said Jeff, tears running down his face.
Well, now you have two contradicting
Poor
stories.
bro, trying to take the blame for what I did. Well, take me away. And the police led Lou out to the patrol car.
No!
Lou, tell them it
No!
was me. Tell them I was the one who beat up those kids. Jeff's mother put her hands on his shoulders. Jeff, please, you don't have to lie. You know it's Lou. You can stop. Hang on. So the reason they know it was these two kids, I'm assuming, is because of the kids who got beat up said it was these two kids.
Yeah.
That just moved to town and they were like, okay, and apparently
Yeah,
that
like-
took them all night, but they got him.
Yeah.
And none of... Okay, see, there's clearly not a trial, because in that trial the kids would be like, no, it wasn't that guy. He just, like, stood up and looked angry, and then his brother, like, fucking attacked us.
Yeah, like, because obviously the person who wrote this doesn't know how that works. Which, do your research, please. But, also,
That's, like,
I feel
basic. Like, watch
you
any
should-
TV show.
True,
Damn.
you should know this. But, it's just I feel like the scene itself was supposed to be very dramatic and very, like, touching of just, like, your brothers being carted off when
Tell them it was me.
when it should
I
have
was
been...
the one who beat up the kids.
It's very... the ending part where he's screaming out the door and his mom is like, no, it's okay, to him is kind of powerful because it's like, no, you know he did it. And so that part was at least very powerful and it was a nice idea. Leading up to it, not a good idea. Very bad. Very bad, the execution, very bad. And just... You should know how jury trials work. You should know that he would get one.
Yeah, and the mother was weirdly really quick.
Yeah, she was so quick to be like, take him away. I don't want to see him anymore.
Yeah, usually mothers would be like,
I feel like she would be the one who's
but
screaming
my
and crying.
kid's such a nice boy. Like, they said that the other kids attacked them. You have to believe
Yeah, like,
them.
I could see the dad being
They've
like,
never done
I'm not
anything
gonna.
wrong.
Like, I could see the dad, because the dad said nothing. I could see the dad being like, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna see what happens. But, like, the mother, I feel like, be more likely to, like, grab her children and be like, no, I believe them. They didn't do anything. Like, I feel like that's
See, okay, so
the
that
parents
part
are
right
weird.
there makes it seem like maybe there was something that happened before. And obviously I'm
Maybe.
reading into it, because it wasn't the original author's intention, but the fact that she was just so readily to...
She was so ready just to believe
Yeah.
that one of her kids did that.
Yeah, she was just so quick. She was just, like, immediately like, yeah, that seems
Yeah,
right.
of course, yes.
Year in juvie.
Seems about right.
Seems fair. This has been a 2-minute
See you
conversation.
in a year.
Take him away.
Take him away. Never want to see him again. See him in a year. But, like, it's so quick. Just, like, bye, son.
Jeff watched helplessly as the cop car speeds off with Lou inside. A few minutes later, Jeff's dad pulled into the driveway. Seeing
No,
Jeff's
wait a
face
minute.
and knowing something was wrong.
Wait a
His
minute.
dad wasn't there.
No, he was there, because he called for him to tell Lou.
No, he said
Wasn't he?
son. So his mother was
Okay,
telling Jeff.
so it was... So,
Yeah,
wait.
the dad wasn't there.
Okay, so it was the cop saying, you need to go tell your brother.
Also, dad just drives up, pulls into the driveway.
Oh, the
and
poor dad.
It's super weird that the mother doesn't immediately run to the car and just be like, our son was taken away by the
Yeah,
cops.
see, the parents are just the worst. I don't...
Yeah.
They have their robots. There's nothing to them.
His parents are terrible. And, like, there's something that happens later that involves
Yeah,
the parents
yeah.
that I want to go into, but we're not
We're
to
not
it yet.
there yet. We got another hour for that.
Is this going to be a two-parter?
I mean, it can be.
Could just be a 2-hour-long episode.
Could be a 2-hour-long episode.
Halloween special, man. Halloween special. Son, what is it? Jeff couldn't answer. His vocal cords were strained from crying. Instead, Jeff's mother walked his father inside to break the bad news to him.
She just
as
walked.
Jeff wept in the driveway. Just leave your kid there.
Just leave your kid to cry in the driveway and walk calmly to your husband, who's probably confused, and be like, oh yeah, our son got taken away. Big whoop.
After an hour or so, Jeff walked back into the house.
They just left their kid out there for an hour to cry in the driveway?
I'm shaking my head. Seeing that his parents are both shocked, sad, and disappointed, he couldn't look at them. He couldn't see how they thought of Lou when it was his fault. They were just so ready to believe all this.
What'd they do in their old neighborhood?
Was Lou just like a terrible child?
What'd they do in their, like, other neighborhood? That, like, they're just so ready to be like, oh, bye, Lou.
He just went to sleep trying to get the whole thing off his mind. This chapter is called Jeff the Killer's Making. We're getting into the
finally
meat.
got it. We're getting
We're
there.
here. Yes.
We finally talk about that feeling
I
some more.
love the sequence of events because it makes no sense. And it wasn't Jeff's fault.
Like, just poor Jeff. Jeff is the real victim in this whole scenario.
2 days went by with no word from Lou at JDC. I'm assuming that's juvie.
It must
Juvenile Detention Center, probably.
Probably, yeah.
I think it's called Correction Facility, actually, but whatever.
I mean, I guess it could depend on what state you're in, too.
Maybe. No friends to hang out with. Nothing but sadness and guilt. That was until Saturday when Jeff is woken up by his mother with a happy sunshiny face. I read it as unhappy because I would assume.
No, but it's
been
2
like
days.
2 days,
It's 2
and
days.
she's okay with this.
They haven't heard about their son at all.
There's no trial. He went straight
There's
to
no
juvie.
trial. Went straight
They
to
dropped him
juvie.
off at juvie.
Oh, you know what it is? It's that birthday. It's that birthday
Yeah,
party.
it's the birthday party.
She's got to save her reputation by sending her one remaining child to the party.
Jeff, it's the day, she said as she opened up the curtains and let light flood into his room. What's today? Asked Jeff as he stirs awake. Why, it's Billy's party. He was now fully awake. Mom, you're joking, right? You don't expect me to go to some kid's party after... There was a long pause. Seriously, though? What is up with this mother?
Seriously, yeah. Like, your kid, like, one of your children has been taken to juvie, and you're still thinking, like, man, gotta prepare for that party in 2 days for that stranger.
I guess the easiest way to make your character seem sympathetic, even if they do horrible things, is just make them have really bad parents.
They have really bad parents. They have this whole neighborhood is full of terrible people. Like, you just get sent straight to juvie without a trial. You just go.
Jeff, we both know what happened. I think this party could be the thing that brightens up the past days. Now get dressed. His mother walked out of the room and downstairs to get ready herself. He fought himself to get up. He picked out a random shirt and a pair of jeans and walked down the stairs.
You know, I
He
feel
saw
like
his mother and father all dressed up, his mother in a dress and his father in a suit. He thought, why would they ever wear something such fancy clothes to a kid's party? Make an impression, said his father. Jeff grunted and went back up to his room. I don't have any fancy clothes, he yelled down the stairs. Just pick out something, called his mother. He looked around his closet for what he could call fancy. He found a pair of black dress pants he had for special occasions and an undershirt. He couldn't find the shirt to go with it, though. He looked down and found only striped and patterned shirts, none of which would go with dress pants. Finally, he found a white hoodie and put it on. You wearing that? They both said. His mother looked at her watch. Oh, no time to change. Let's just go. They're right across the street.
Yeah, I do appreciate the scene of it because it's definitely a scene of like this is just complete nonsense.
Yeah, credits where it's due. This is actually like.
But that is a scene I genuinely enjoy.
Yeah, you're describing what a character's wearing, but you're not doing it in a terribly annoying way. He was wearing an Armani shirt.
Yeah, like this one, I definitely feel like that's like a good way to introduce one, what a character is wearing.
Yeah,
and
they did it in a nice way.
How the family dynamic is.
Yeah.
That's a very good scene because you're showing us. You're not telling us flat out.
Credits where it's due, and I feel like this is like kind of more of a starter story than like somebody who's been writing for a long time. And like you can basically tell. But like a lot of times when you read stuff like this on like fanfiction.net where it's like clearly it's like their first or second story or something like that, they always like describe the outfit with like just like
too much
he
detail.
Looked up and they were wearing a brown button-down shirt with red flowers on it and like,
it's like that's
skinny jeans that were ripped the perfect amount with Converse shoes that squeak lightly on the floor.
Like, that's too much detail. We don't need that.
Yeah, it's too much. This is nice.
But this
like
is, yeah.
They gave like they set up an opportunity to describe what they were wearing instead of just flat out saying it, which is nice. So credit where it's due. That was a nice scene. The kids are out in the yard. Hang on, I skipped forward a little bit. She said as she herded Jeff and his father out the door. They crossed over the street to Barbara and Billy's house. They knocked on the door, and as it appeared that Barbara, just like his parents, way overdressed. As they walked inside, all Jeff could see were adults, no kids. Yeah, that makes sense, because little kids' parties aren't for little kids, they're for adults.
They're for the adults who want to celebrate their kid's birthday and also interact with adults.
Yeah, and I would see how you would end up with, like, a little kid's party, like somebody between, like, earlier than 5, probably, because once you're 6, you have friends, because you started kindergarten.
Yeah, you went to school.
Yeah. But when you're younger than 5, you don't really have friends that aren't just, like, your mom's friends, like, friends' kids.
Yeah, like, it would make sense that, like, that mom would see the new neighbor, and if this is supposed to be, like, a white suburban neighborhood where people are, like, close and they talk.
That's clearly what, it's because it's a fancy quotation marks.
Yeah, then it would make sense for her to come over and be like, here's my 5-year-old son,
Mm-hmm.
let's have your kids who are, like, teenagers come to the party, just to be like, we need some kids there,
mm-hmm.
you know, because it makes sense.
Yeah.
So, at the very least, that's a nice continuity.
Yeah, this is very appropriate. That's very, like, a real-life experience. Jeff walked outside to a yard full of kids. They were running around in weird cowboy costumes and shooting each other with plastic guns. He might as well have been standing in a Toys R Us. You can't put on and play with the guns in Toys R Us? Whatever. Suddenly a kid came up to him and handed him a toy gun and a hat. Hey, wanna play? He said. No, kid. I'm way too old for this stuff.
Oh, come on, you're 17?
Yeah, be nice to the kid.
What 17-year-old doesn't want to act like a child again?
Like, I hate children. I would play with the kids.
Yeah, like
Don't be mean to kids.
Because I went
They didn't do anything wrong. It doesn't matter if you hate kids. Be nice to the kids.
I went to a surprise party for a friend of mine, and like they brought their little siblings because they didn't know it was a party for them. So, oops, I brought my little siblings to a party. But like near the end of it, I was like playing Monopoly with them, but not really because they don't know how to play Monopoly. But I was playing fake Monopoly with them because their like brother was off doing stuff. So I was like, oh, I'll just play with the children and keep them occupied because why not? They want me to. Just play with the children. You're at his birthday party. Play with the children.
Yeah, we had a hurricane recently, and I was at my dad's house because I was worried the house we were in was gonna get flooded. And I ended up babysitting my little sisters who were about 6, like the entire time. And I, at one point, ended up playing Barbies with them for 4 hours. Just play with the kids,
Just
Jeff.
play with the children, Jeff.
Play with the kids,
You were
Jeff.
invited to this party. Play with the children. Come on. Just they asked you to play like what is it? Cowboys? Play cowboys.
The kid looked at him with that weird puppy dog face. Please.
Weird?
They wrote in the W. Please.
Oh, no.
Said the kid. Fine, said Jeff. He put on the hat. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
We went on a rant. Thank you, Jeff, though. And started to pretend to shoot at the kids. At first he thought it was totally ridiculous, but then he actually started having fun. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
It might not have been super cool, but it was the first time he had done something that took his mind off of Lou. So he played with the kids for a while. Good choice, Mom.
See, yeah, his mom was right. He just needed to get his mind off of it.
So he played with the kids for a while until he heard a noise. A weird rolling noise. Then it hit him. Randy, Troy, and Keith all jumped over the... What's the rolling noise? Oh, it's his skateboard.
Oh, that's it. With just the one skateboard. Wait, does something?
No, only one of them was
Yeah,
a skateboard.
only one of them has a skateboard. So the others are just walking with him.
Nope, they all have a skateboard.
Okay,
A
they
weird
better.
rolling noise. Then it hit him. Okay, it's weird that he says then it hit him and then they jumped over the fence. Like, did they hit you? No.
No.
Like,
But
then
they
it hit
also-
him.
they
That
also-
sounded like a skateboard. All of a sudden, blah, blah, blah.
Also, they did some sick tricks over that fence.
They jumped over a
Like,
fence.
that's amazing. They did some sick tricks over that fence.
Randy, Troy, and Keith all jumped over the fence on their skateboards. They jumped over a fence.
Man, this is some good skateboarding.
Jesus. Jeff dropped the fake gun and ripped off the hat. Randy looked at Jeff with burning hatred. Hello, Jeff, is it? We have some unfinished
Man,
business.
Keith got over that stab wound real fast.
Jeff saw his bruised nose. I think we're even. I beat the crap out of you, and you got my brother sent to GDC.
No, dude.
Okay, so
Is that
like,
a normal way to say that? I think you should say juvie.
yeah, nobody would say JDC. I've been saying GDC, it's JDC. But, yeah, you would just say juvie. I don't know anybody who would say the proper.
I don't know. I don't know where this is from. Like the person who wrote this, I don't know where they're from. So they could have been from even a different country.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, maybe that's how. I don't know. But
Yeah, that's possible. Randy got an angry look in his eyes. Oh no, I don't go for even. I go for winning. By the way, just
I don't go for
Fuck.
even. I go for winning.
fucking Randy. This is a child's birthday
This
party.
is a child's birthday party.
Can you not wait till later? Wait till he comes back to school and then get him then.
Yeah, and plus, like, this isn't Jeff's house. Like, I
yeah,
could
he
get,
doesn't take the bus anymore because of what happened. Just wait till he's walking home from school and he's alone.
Yeah, this isn't Jeff's house. This is the next door neighbor's house, or like the person across the
So
street.
how did they know he was there?
I don't even know. How did he know? It's like he shared the information. Like, I'm going to Billy's birthday party.
Yeah, and like they didn't see him walk in because it's been a while. He's been playing with the kids and he was having fun, and then they
Yeah,
came.
and then they came. So I don't know, but they figured it out. And also, Keith's not in the hospital.
Yeah, like two of them one of them got stabbed and one of them got punched and got their wrist broken, and the other one got stabbed.
Yeah. Also,
Then Randy just got a punch.
Does he not have a cast? They haven't described what they look like, so I don't know. But also,
They probably have a.
they better like they should at least 2 of them should be in the hospital.
They have an epic battle. I remember that. So apparently they're well enough to do that, even though it's only been 2 days.
So.
This is reminding me of All-Star Batman, where it's like, I had heart surgery, but I need to go report on Batman now.
I rewatched the video that critiqued like the part of the series.
Yeah.
And okay, so
Tangent.
So sorry, you probably don't care at all. But so in All-Star Batman, right?
Yeah.
Here's where the time got weird for us when we were watching that. Batman kidnaps Dick Grayson.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the Batmobile. The drive-in.
This is the old All-Star Batman, the one by Frank Miller, by the way.
Yeah, Frank Miller.
The new
don't
ones,
worry about it.
I've read a couple of them. It seems pretty okay.
Yeah, so they're driving, right? Then we get information that a couple hours ago, something like that, Vicky Val, right? She's in the hospital getting heart surgery. She's dead? No, she's not. She's fine. But she's getting heart surgery. So then we get a cut to 6 months ago with the Black Canary. Black Canary in like a Hooters type bar. Her backstory is completely stripped from her. She's a Hooters bartender.
Yep.
She beats up the entire bar, steals her motorcycle, and then leaves. So
and drives all the way to Gotham.
All the way to Gotham.
From, I'm assuming, Star City, which is, by the way, in California, and Gotham is in New Jersey.
Yeah. So drives all the way 6 months.
Six months. It takes 6 months.
On that motorcycle. But, right,
gotta
so that
be more
happens.
people, gotta get money, gotta get gas for your motorcycle that you stole.
Same issue, though. In the same issue, we cut to Superman, who's holding a milk carton with Dick Grayson's face on it. But he's missing, right? He's missing. What timestamp do you think it was?
I don't know.
15 hours ago.
From where?
From 16 months ago.
16 months ago. From 6 months ago.
Sorry, 6 months ago.
Wait, didn't they kidnap Dick Grayson 6 months ago?
No. Because the 6 months ago was from 6 months from when his parents were killed, and so, Batman scooped him up.
I have said this before, and I will say it right now. They have been in the Batmobile for 6 months.
Here's the thing. They get into the Batcave, right?
Yeah.
They get out of the Batmobile, and then Dick Grayson's like, "Can I get out of here now? Because it's like, it feels like it's been days."
It's been 6 months.
Yeah, he explicitly says, "I feel like it's been days," and
Except
I'm like,
it's
been 6 months.
Okay, let's just keep reading.
Yeah, but keep reading. Sorry about that.
Oh no, I don't go for even. I go for winning. You may have kicked our asses that one day, but not today. As he said that, Randy rushed at Jeff. They both fell to the ground. Randy punched Jeff at the nose, and Jeff grabbed him by the ears and headbutted him. Jeff pushed Randy off him, and both rose to their feet. Kids were screaming and parents were running out of the house. Troy and Kevin both pulled guns out of their pockets. How did these children get guns?
Where did they get those? But also, like, see, because
I realize it's a white suburban neighborhood, so maybe their parents just had guns.
Maybe their parents just
around.
have them. But here's the right, here's where they start going off the rails of like this origin story of Jeff the Killer, because it's just like, you're now telling me that this poor boy went to a children's birthday party at the request of his mom, interacted kindly with a bunch of children, and then got ambushed by 3 teenagers.
And people saw them being ambushed.
People witnessed it. Adults witnessed this and watched this poor boy get beat up by a bunch of boys who also had guns.
I feel like we should read the rest of it before commenting.
No one would blame this boy.
Yeah, but like, I made a comparison earlier before we started recording this. I compared Jeff the Killer to the Onceler from the new Lorax movie, the newish. It was in like 2014.
Yeah, something like that.
But the Onceler has a weirdly still active fan base, even though that movie came out like 3 years ago.
It came out a while ago.
Yeah,
and it's not good. So.
But there is a fan base specifically around the Onceler.
Just
like,
the
there's
Onceler.
still active Onceler blogs on Tumblr. But they made this person who's typically seen, like, the Onceler's not even necessarily
in the book,
a bad
he's not
character,
evil.
but they specifically made him in a way to make him seem very sympathetic to where you could like him. So I don't I understand why people might have liked him.
And it's like the thing of like what happens is you have a villain or you have someone who's evil in a story, and the fan base just loves that character and adores that character because they see only the sympathetic side and not what they ultimately did. Which I think is...
I have nothing wrong with liking villains, by the way.
There's nothing wrong with liking them, but it's just like what
like,
happens
you don't have to
they'll...
condone their actions for you to like them as a character.
Absolutely. But it's just kind of like, that's what I feel like is what happened. Like, I feel like it happens a lot with when there's a villain that's very sympathetic, is you get like a rabid fan base who just like ignore the bad part.
There is always chunks whenever there's like a character who is the villain. there's always a chunk of people who like the character who just like pretends like every bad
yeah,
thing
like
they
they
did
pretend they
didn't
never
happen,
did that, which I feel like
or
takes away
that it
from
was
the character.
justified. Yeah, I feel like it takes away from the character too, because I like these villainous characters because they're sympathetic, but also because they're villains.
Yeah,
Like they do bad things, and that's nice.
that's interesting.
Unless you're doing it at
And
you.
yeah, and so I think this is
Like
one
Kylo
of
Ren,
the
that's a big one.
earlier.
Loki.
Yeah, I think so.
Like
I feel
those
like-
two are the biggest, I think. I can't
Yeah,
think
something
who-
like that. I mean, one thing that I'm
One of
closer
their villains
to.
super popular. Mycroft, maybe? No,
Yeah, I
Mycroft's a
know.
good guy. What's the name of that one dude? Who gives a shit? Moriarty.
Yeah.
You go on.
I mean, Persona 5 obviously Akechi, and I think Persona 4 Adachi. People like them. And it's like they're not as big because it is a niche group, but
Yeah,
like,
yeah, it's
if
kind
you
of
go
a
into
small,
that,
yeah.
you go into that subset of people. There's a lot of people who love the villains.
And like it's fine to love villains.
It is, but I think you definitely need to know that they did bad things.
I
and
also think it's
like
because
them
there is
still.
like a certain number of people who also go after you for
True,
liking
yeah.
a villain, that you feel like you have to get rid of like the bad things they've done in order to justify.
You have to, like,
when
justify.
you don't have to
You don't have to
justify
justify
why you like a villain.
And so it's like with Jeff the Killer, I feel like the same thing along like all these years ago happened to him.
Mm-hmm.
Is like they've made such a sympathetic character,
Mm-hmm.
and I think this one also they accidentally, I feel like, made him too sympathetic because
Yeah.
even the sympathetic villains who are people they're loved by fans,
Yeah, like, honestly-
are good characters, but they've made a character that is just it doesn't make sense for him to have done these bad things in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. Like from this chapter, and I have read it before, obviously, but like, and we'll get to it, but I don't understand where the serial killer part comes into play. Like, what makes him do a sudden flip?
Yeah, because like the scene that we're gonna get to eventually, where he does end up hurting or killing a person, it makes sense because it's self-defense.
Yes.
He's being attacked, and he can't do anything else about it. That makes sense story-wise. The serial killer aspect doesn't. I don't understand where that comes into play.
It's just the feeling, I guess. Like, it doesn't really come in.
They
it
have
doesn't
it-
make so much sense,
like,
and it
'cause the
feels
feeling-
like we'll get to it, but it feels like a very dramatic shift.
Yeah, like, and the feeling seems to have started the day he moved to the suburbs.
Honestly,
Which
this
doesn't
would
make sense.
more sense of not a realistic serial killer story. It would have made more sense if it was this person was cursed. Their house was built on an Indian
Cursed or
burial
possessed,
ground.
something like spirit, like supernatural makes
Like there's
sense.
something weird in the water.
Yeah.
Demons.
Like, because like for this, I feel like if you wanted to make a serial killer character, you should have started before he moved and been like, the reason we're moving is because he did something.
if you wanted to do a sudden shift from when he moved, I would have had him like be seeing like a weird shadow creature.
yeah, like
that
make
he
it
talks
a
to
ghost, make it
occasionally
a
or
shadow,
something.
a demon. Who knows? Just make it something supernatural if you're gonna do a sudden shift.
Yeah, if
like
you're gonna
this.
do if you're trying to do a realistic serial killer story, you need to at least mention that he's been weird.
Yeah, like
since he was a
make
kid.
him weird. Like something's wrong.
Yeah.
And then also that like I understand maybe they're trying to do like, oh, he's moved and that can like spur stuff in people, like because it's hard to move. So clearly, like
Yeah,
with
he
a
goes
child,
through a
sometimes,
bunch of really hard things in like
yeah,
rapid progression, but it's
very
not
fast,
like
but you don't.
Yeah, it's not like maybe like I would understand like he had like a mental breakdown from like all the things that happened, and like he fucked up his face. That makes sense.
Like
That's
he hurt,
fine.
like he hurt himself is what happens later, and that is like all right. I can see him. Doing
Yeah, I can
that.
see that, but like we should just wait till we get there. But just like real
Yeah.
quick, there's like a point in the hospital where he's like, "This is me now."
This is me now.
But we'll get to it.
But yeah, I feel like though, like they did it too quick because I feel like because like the house thing can make sense if there was something there to begin with, which there wasn't, and that's my main problem. There was nothing there to begin
Yeah.
with to cause this.
Kids are screaming and parents are running out of the house. Troy and Keith both pulled guns out of their pockets. "No one interrupts us or guts will fly," they said. Randy pulled out a knife on Jeff and stabbed him into his shoulder. Jeff screamed and fell to his knees. Randy started kicking him in the face. After 3 kicks, Jeff grabs his foot and twists it, causing Randy to fall to the ground. Jeff stood up and walked towards the back door. Troy grabbed him. "Need some help?" He picks Jeff up by the back of his collar and throws him through the patio
He's a
door.
strong man. What?
Is that the fat one?
I don't know, but he's very strong.
Yes, Randy's the fat one.
He's very strong.
He's the strong fat.
This poor kid's birthday party. He's gonna be traumatized for life.
Those children.
Those poor children.
They are traumatized
Also,
forever.
the parents are doing nothing.
Well, they do have guns held on them and presumably the children, but also...
Some dad, though,
yeah, how is there
needs
not
to...
at least a couple dads, like, trying to, like, tackle these children?
Like, okay, but think about it, right? You have a group of adults who are the parents of these very young children, and then you have these two teenagers who've just burst in with guns. Like, I don't care how, like, scared you'd think these parents would be. I guarantee you, half of those parents would barrel into those teenagers, no matter if there was a gun or not. Their children are there.
Yeah, there's like a maternal adrenaline, and like the Hulk is based off of like the mothers who would get such adrenaline rushes when their like kids were like stuck under cars that they would like lift the cars, and that's how the Hulk was made. Which, by the way, why wasn't the She-Hulk first if that was the reason? It makes no sense. But anyways, so like.
But like, already,
it seems like at least like a couple mothers would be running, grab like 5 kids and like sprint out.
Yeah, like so like they wouldn't care that like there's a gun pointed. At least half of them would run either toward the teenagers or toward their children.
Yeah, like I would expect, and I understand that the focus is on Jeff, but I would expect at least a few parents to like at the very least get in front of the gun and like get the kids out from in front of the gun if they are pointing at the children.
Yeah, like I think like this is why I think the person who wrote this is a younger person.
Yeah,
because I feel like because they're not thinking as like maybe a parent would. Mm-hmm. Like if there was an adult, I feel like who wrote it, they might think more, okay, what are the parents doing? But here they're completely thinking like, no, the parents are going to stand there and listen to these teenagers.
Yeah, like I feel like they could have set it up in a way to where this would have worked, but they would have had to like one of them would have had to like grab a child and put the gun right up to his head, and it's just like everybody get down on the ground, grab your kid, get down on the ground, or we'll shoot some kids.
Like like just some sort of hostage situation,
or just like separate the kids into a different part and like maybe lock the parents into a room or something.
Yeah, like because what they've done is
they could have set it up a lot better, but they kind of have these parents and these children loose, and then they have just 2 teenagers. Which I feel like teenagers is a big part. Like if they were adults, I would understand more.
Then it's scarier. But I feel like definitely what the writer's done is they've created a bunch of adults that are utterly useless.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what are they doing? What are they doing?
Kind of like parents from like a Charlie Brown special. They're just
this
like
isn't how parents behave.
Yeah, they just exist as like noise. Like I can't understand like a way for this to work, but you would have
there could be a way, but there's more effort you had to put into it than just 2 teenagers with guns.
Yeah, like hold a gun to a kid's head, force them into a room, lock the door. Now they can't help Jeff.
Yeah, like you gotta
do the same for the kids.
You have to remove the parents. You can't just have them there.
But it's the fact that they're loose, and I think later all 3 of them go after Jeff, and it's just like, why does nobody take a chance?
Yeah, what are the adults doing? But yeah, get to the point so I can rant about these adults that are just worthless. They don't do anything to help.
Needs some help. He picks Jeff up by the back of the collar and throws him through the patio door. As Jeff tried to stand, he's kicked down to the ground. Randy repeatedly starts kicking Jeff until he's coughing up blood. Come on, Jeff, fight me. He picks Jeff up and throws him into the kitchen. Randy sees a bottle of vodka on the counter and smashes the glass over Jeff's head. Fight! He throws Jeff back into the living room. Come on, Jeff, look at me. This kid is insanely strong.
Yeah, see, here's the thing.
He's just picking up this kid who's older than him and just tossing him into different rooms. Like, I know he's big, but geez.
Yeah, and also, like, okay, because the way he acts, I don't...
See, this would make a lot more sense if demons were involved.
Also, what's his name? I can't remember what his name is.
Randy.
With the way Randy behaves, and the way Randy and his, like, gang behave, is that, like, Randy seems like he should be Jeff the Killer. Because Randy has some serious issues. Like, he's just going after this kid that beat him up once. And just, like, he's already shown, based on what they've said in the story, is that he's a bully. and that he'll stalk kids at the bus stop
Yeah,
to take their money.
he has henchmen with knives and guns.
Yeah, like this
that will hurt children.
That'll like hurt children. He's a
yeah.
terrible
I think
person.
I said this the first time we watched it, but this seems more like an origin story for Randy the Killer.
Yeah, like what's Randy? Because Randy seems like the type of person that this story should be about. Because he's just the worst person,
and he's clearly violent. He's clearly been violent for a while.
Yeah, like why? Like because Jeff is just this poor kid who just got beat up by this dude who clearly has some serious problems. Like, why is Randy even like? They really built up Randy to be like this huge villain of the story when really Jeff should have been the villain.
By the way, can I mention I got lost for a minute, but Troy is the fat one.
Okay.
And Randy, just like the normal one,
so
I
Randy's
guess, the in-between,
sized.
is just able to pick Jeff
He's
up
just
and
able
throw
to
him
pick...
into different rooms.
What kind of twig is Jeff that he can just pick Jeff up and throw him through a door?
Jeff is tiny.
That must be.
He's got that sweet, sweet emo body.
Probably. Has to be the only how people draw him.
Fight! He throws Jeff back into the living room. Come on, Jeff, look at me. Jeff glances up, his face riddled with blood. I was the one who put your brother into GDC, and now you're just gonna sit here and let him rot in there for a whole year? You would be ashamed. By the way,
year.
There is no way the parents are listening to that, so way to go, Randy. You just dug yourself into a hole.
Because he threw him into the kitchen. So they're in the kitchen, and
he threw him back out of the kitchen into the living room.
Oh, so he threw him into the living room.
And the living room was where the parents originally were, and a bunch of them ran out into the yard, but I'm sure some of them they're close enough.
And also there's a glass door, is what we understand. That there's a glass back door.
That's broken now.
That's broken. So he's in the living room where I'm assuming that door is. Mm-hmm. That's broken. And you have all these parents who are kind of corralled outside in a hostage
They definitely
situation.
heard that.
They definitely heard that. And they aren't doing anything to help. Nothing.
Jeff starts to get up. Oh, finally, you stand and fight. Jeff is now on his feet, blood and vodka on his face. Once again, he gets the strange feeling. The one in which he hasn't felt for a while.
Felt for a while?
I feel like that feeling is just he has some anger issues.
He just has some anger issues. Plus, it's happened 4 times in 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make sense. That's
Seriously.
Not anything.
And
that's just some anger issues.
It started when he moved and then was immediately like
it was
he
rapid
was getting
fire.
this feeling like non-stop.
Yeah, and rapid fire.
He's been
violent, and it's just
vaguely, kind of, not unprovoked.
Not really. He's just been provoked, and then he hit someone.
Yeah. I lost my spot. Once again, he gets the strange feeling, the one that he hasn't felt for a while. 2 days. Finally, he's up, says Randy as he runs at Jeff. That's when it happens. Something inside Jeff snaps. His psyche is destroyed. All rationality is gone. All he can do is kill.
His psyche. See, I think this is the line that upset me so much. It took 1 sentence. It took this author 1 sentence to tell us that he's not a serial killer. No. He snaps and his psyche is destroyed.
Also, if you just remove that line, this is purely self-defense.
This is purely self-defense.
If
we didn't know that Jeff has this mental breakdown,
this is supposed to be the part where he snaps, but honestly, I don't think he snaps till he's in the hospital later.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think, he seems like just a dude trying to stop this boy from killing him. This is self-defense. And he definitely doesn't snap until the hospital. But yeah, we need to get there, though.
By the way, I have some things to say about the doctor. He grabs Randy and pile drives him into the ground. He gets on top of him and punches him straight in the heart.
Oh, the heart.
The punch causes Randy's heart to stop. He punches hard.
What? Oh, wait a minute. This is the thing where I was like, he just punched him to death.
1 punch to the heart. Heart stops. He's dead.
What the? First off, no. Second, how strong is he? 3, what?
That's not how hearts work.
He just punched him so hard he died. What?
As Randy gasps for breath, Jeff hammers...
No, his heart stopped. He's dead.
Jeff hammers down on him, punch after punch. Blood gushes from Randy's body until he finally takes one final death and dies. His heart hasn't been moving for like a minute.
He took one final death and died. Is that what that said?
Yeah, I think my breath.
But here's the thing. He just punched him. Where's all that blood coming from? His heart? Did he just punch a hole through him?
Yes!
Oh, God.
Everyone is looking at Jeff now. The parents, the crying kids, even Troy and Keith. Although they...
What are the parents doing? They're just watching.
Do
something!
Troy and Keith's attentions are off them.
Guns.
And they're looking at Jeff tackle the children with the guns.
Get the guns away from the teenagers. Save your children. What is this? Jeff has clearly, stopped the one that was attacking him. He stopped.
Also, no, but I'm assuming people haven't straight up seen him punch the dude's heart out.
No,
which is what happened.
He just saw him pummeling a guy, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm assuming they just saw, these three kids start to attack this one kid. Two of the kids pull out guns on children. They start throwing this other kid through, a door and, hitting him, and, he's all bloody. And then the kid starts to attack back, punches him, and that's all they're seeing.
And then I'm assuming then they saw him stop, because that's what happened.
And, they saw the blood, but then they're...
But I'm assuming no one probably, because this is a stressful situation, I'm assuming no one has thought he killed a boy. I'm assuming they're thinking, crap, okay, this is a bad situation.
I think they're probably thinking, good, one of them's down, we need to get the other two.
Yeah, I'm assuming one of them just thinks, okay, he's incapacitated, he can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely not, because I'm assuming the way the writer wants it is that they've seen Jeff do this, and they're, terrified of Jeff. But my mindset is, no, they'd be too terrified or too shocked, because they're clearly just standing there.
They'd be...
Their
they
thought
wouldn't be
process
scared.
would be...
Yeah, they're writing this as if they're scared of Jeff, when they wouldn't be scared of Jeff. They would be scared of the people with the guns.
With the guns. They would either, they might not see what Jeff did, and even if they did, there's gonna be, no one's gonna be able to think that fast of, oh, God, Jeff.
It's crazier, though.
Okay, yeah, I want to hear about that, then.
Although, they easily break from their gaze and point their guns at Jeff. Their guns are off you, off the children. They're on Jeff.
They're on Jeff.
Tackle the kids.
This is the prime time to be all right, Dad, go tackle the children and stop them from using these guns. This is bad. Stop the children. Stop the teenagers who have these guns. Do something.
16-year-olds' guns. Jeff sees the guns trained on him and runs for the stairs. As he runs, Troy and Keith let out fire on him, each shot missing. He's running upstairs. He's in a small corridor.
He's fast.
He probably straight up, but these shots are missing.
Either he's fast or they're bad aims.
They're
probably
bad
both.
aims. The first time they handled guns, they're 16. As they let out their final rounds of bullets, Jeff ducks into the bathroom. He grabs a towel rack and rips it off the wall.
What purpose?
Troy and
Also
Keith
very
race
strong
in,
boy.
knives ready. By the way, their guns are now useless. They didn't bring more bullets, and no parents are helping them. Troy swings the knife at Keith. Sorry.
So they don't have their guns. They drop their guns because they're out of bullets, I'm assuming.
They didn't bring more bullets. They only had one round.
And they took out knives.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Which, by the way, that's 24 shots that they missed.
It's a lot. Did a terrible job, but all right. So now they have their knives, and they... Also, here's the thing. They ran out of bullets, because they aren't using them. They're not using their guns. They ran out of bullets. They dropped them. Mm-hmm. They ran past the parents into the house. And
No.
stairs.
They were following him up the stairs, and they were shooting.
So
they ran out of bullets. But seriously, adults,
Adults?
you no longer hear gunshots.
Hurry! Go up the stairs. Also, honestly, if I was at that party as an adult there at that party, I would be panicking if there was no more gunshots of uh-oh.
Shit, a kid's dead. We gotta go get that kid.
They got him. Go help.
Let's hope that kid's alive. Troy swings his knife at Jeff, who backs away and bangs the towel rack into Troy's face.
Yeah, he ripped a towel rack off the wall.
No, it's just the way they say it. They start it with Troy. Troy swings a knife at Jeff, who backs away and bangs the towel rack into Troy's face.
And then Jeff backs away.
It was worded a little weird.
Yeah, it's kind of a run-on, but
It's fine. Troy goes down hard, and now all is left is Keith. He is more agile than Troy, though. That's the non-fat one. And and ducks when Jeff swings the towel rack. He drops the knife and grabs Jeff by the neck. Why? Why'd you drop the knife? Why didn't you just swing the knife at his neck? Clearly you were able to get to his neck. Why'd you drop the knife? He pushes him into the wall. A thing of bleach fell down on top of him from the top shelf. It burnt both of them, and they both start to scream. That's not how bleach works.
That's not how bleach works.
It would burn your eyes.
Yeah, and it like prolonged exposure. Like, here's the thing: household bleach is not enough to burn you.
Like, it'll definitely fuck up your eyes.
Don't get it in your eyes. Don't get it in your mouth. Like that.
But I'm assuming you have like a couple seconds. Also, like, that's not how bleach falls. Yeah. Like, did it just like tip over on its side, which would be a relatively small stream unless it was like a full bottle of bleach. Which, why do you have a full bottle? Why? Whatever. But it would still be a relatively small stream. It would fall on your head, and you would probably instinctively close your eyes. So
and your mouth hopefully.
Fine. Like, your skin wouldn't burn.
Like, yeah, you don't want it in your. It'll burn your eyes, and
it wouldn't hit both of them. There's no way it would hit both of them unless it was like a weird like splashing off of some sort of pole or something. Like, but they don't describe that. It's very strange that this not only dumps like on. Yeah, it seems more like they have a bucket of bleach.
Yeah, they just seem to not have a fundamental understanding of what bleach does to you,
or how water falls,
or how water falls. But it will like burns your inside. So I'm assuming that's what they think is going to happen to your outside. But that's not how that happens.
Yeah, it's not going to burn your skin like immediately.
Yeah, I mean, if you leave it on you,
it will burn your eyes.
But if you leave it on you, it will definitely irritate your skin.
But seriously though, if you want to pull an experiment, and don't do this, but like surprise a friend and just like pour like a glass of water on them. Their eyes are going to instantly close when they feel the water on their head.
Yeah, like if you did an experiment where you just poured water on yourself or a friend, you're going to instinctually close your eyes.
Yeah, especially if it's a surprise. You instinctively close your eyes.
Yeah, like you're not going to leave them open. So like he's going to close his eyes and it's not going to burn his skin like that. If you leave it on, it's going to irritate you. But like if bleach of itself burned your skin like that, it wouldn't be a household like cleaning item.
No, because like you are supposed to wear gloves, but like sometimes you take them off and you like still hold the rag and it doesn't burn your hand immediately. And that's how they're describing it, like it's that strong.
Yeah, like it's not like acid. It's not gonna do that. It's not gonna like burn your skin off. Like you're fine, you're okay. Just dunk your head in some water.
Mm-hmm.
Like get the eye rinse. Like just like from like, you know, the little like the lab eye rinse station. Just dip your head in water or something. You're fine. You're okay. But he's not clearly in the story. They're both dying, I guess.
Also, they do say a thing of bleach, so I'm assuming because of what happens, it is a bucket full of bleach that they just have on the top shelf in their bathroom. And burnt both of them, and they started to scream. Jeff wiped his eyes as best he could. He pulled back the towel rack and swung it straight into Keith's head. As he lay there, bleeding to death, he let out an ominous smile. "What's so funny?" he asked Jeff. Keith asked Jeff. Sorry, not he asked Jeff.
Wait, who's bleeding? Jeff. Who's bleeding?
Keith, I believe.
So Keith's bleeding, and then he let out an ominous smile? Is that what he did?
Sorry, I read forward a little bit.
Okay, but continue. I'm confused with what's happening.
Yeah, okay. Keith got hit by Jeff with a towel rack.
Right.
He's bleeding to death.
See, but even Keith seems worse than Jeff. Like, what is this?
I know, right? And
like,
and then Jeff let out an ominous smile. And then he said, "What's funny?"
He let it out.
Yeah.
He let out a smile.
Keith pulled out a lighter and switched it on. "What's funny?" he said. It's that you're covered in bleach and alcohol." Jeff's eyes widened as Keith threw the lighter at him. Soon the flame made contact with him. The flames ignited with the alcohol and the vodka. While the alcohol burned him, the bleach bleached his skin.
The bleach... Oh, okay. So is this them trying to explain why the picture of the character is so, like, white?
Yeah. That's not how bleach works.
That's not how bleach works.
And also your hair wouldn't be black. Like, if your bleach is, like, that fucking strong to bleach your skin, I'm assuming it would also bleach your hair.
It would also bleach your hair.
Your hair would probably be, like, a nasty orange.
Even worse, though, of that, like, they're trying to explain why his skin is so white.
Also,
why isn't he just wearing makeup? Why isn't it just a Joker situation where he just put on makeup?
You know what it is? Canon Joker origin story. He fell into some acid. I'm just gonna say acid, and like that gave him green hair, probably because he was wearing a green shirt or something. I don't know.
Okay.
He actually wasn't, but who cares? And I know exactly the outfit he was wearing. It had no green on it, but who cares? And it bleached his skin. And the same thing happened to Harley Quinn in some versions. Some versions she's just wearing makeup, or she's just really pale and she wears like a like lipstick or something. But they probably went off like a Joker type situation because of his smile in the picture. And so they were like, since we're trying to make this more realistic and he can't exactly like break into a chemical facility,
I guess
bleach falls on him. But also, let's say bleach and alcohol is on you and you do catch on fire, your skin wouldn't turn white.
No, you just have third-degree burns because you're on fire. You just have like burn scars.
Yeah, your face would be covered in burn scars, and like they would try to fix it as best they could with like skin from other parts of your body, and
you'd
mostly
get a bunch of skin grafts,
the back of your thighs or something, and yeah, you get a bunch of skin grafts, and they would be noticeable. You could definitely like see it, but it wouldn't be what is shown.
Yeah, no, like that's not
what that would look like. Honestly, from that picture, it kind of looks, and once again, comparison to the Joker, when the Joker cut his face off and then like stapled his face back onto his face, which is also bad. Don't look at that. But it kind of looks like that, like the way the skin is like weirdly stretched and the way the eyes are kind of caved in. That's kind of what it looks like. It looks like he has like a weird skin pulled over his face.
Yeah, like I think like they were really going for like they were trying to, because it is like it's tied to a picture. You're trying to explain the picture. So many better ways to do it.
I would have done with what I just said, which is a much creepier story when Jeff the Killer, but whatever.
Yeah, but you know, that's...
I'll just keep reading. Jeff let out a terrible screech as he caught on fire. He tried to roll out of the fire, but it was no use. The alcohol had made him a walking inferno. That's not how fire works. He ran down the stairs and fell down the stairs. He ran down the hall and fell down the stairs. I'm sorry. Everybody started screaming as they saw Jeff, and nobody went upstairs.
And nobody decided to help the boy who was on fire.
Now a man on fire dropped to the ground nearly dead. The last thing Jeff saw was his mother and the other parents trying to exhaust the flame. Finally,
now they're trying to help.
That's when he passed out. That's the first thing they've done.
That's the first thing that they spent that whole time, and they didn't help him, and now that he's on fire, and let me help the boy. Why would...
Yeah, we've heard the gunshots stop, and nobody's running back down, and we hear some scuffling and bangs and screaming, but we're not gonna go.
We're not gonna help.
No, we're just gonna wait down here. See how it plays out.
See.
When Jeff woke, he had a cast wrapped around his face. Nope, he couldn't see anything.
He had a cast. All right,
but he felt a cast on his shoulders, and stitches all over his body. He tried to stand up.
You mean dressings? Like, you wouldn't have a cast. Their face isn't broken.
Yeah, the two places where they describe a cast, not only is that not what casts are for, but also they don't typically fit there. Like, when you have, like, a shoulder that's been, dislocated, you end up with a sling as to not move your shoulder, because you can't really put a cast there unless you're going like full body cast, and even then you don't put it over your face typically.
No,
because that's not, casts don't really mold that way. I think
they're imagining like the TV sitcom joke thing of like it's a full body cast. It covered their entire body.
I think they mean heavy bandaging.
They described it as
but the word they chose to use was cast.
They're describing it as
which is not how cast works.
The sitcom full body cast.
Yeah. He tried to stand up, but he realized there was some tube in his arm, and then he tried to get up. And when he tried to get up, it fell out. It would not fall out.
Would not.
And a nurse rushed in. They would not know. I don't think you can get out of bed just yet, she said, as she put him back in his bed and reinserted the tube. Jeff sat there with no vision. See, this would make sense if he, like, tore off everything on him, which would probably be multiple tubes.
Yeah, like, I could see him, like...
There's a heart monitor that you get, that is put on your finger, and when you take it off, it flatlines the machine, and that's when the nurses will run in. So I feel like that would have made more sense if he said, I ripped off, like, the cords on me. Or possibly, if he's, like, real messed up, they would have them on his chest, but probably not. It's probably just on his finger. But
yeah, like, I feel like they should have. I feel like they definitely need to investigate a little bit more into how a hospital works. But
this is a little bit more advanced stuff, so I don't typically blame them. Like, I spent, like, a lot of time in hospitals.
Yeah, like, because you worked
volunteering. I wasn't sick, but like
because you volunteered in hospitals, so you kind of know how stuff works.
Over 50 hours. That got me nowhere. My mom was like, "It'll be so easy to get a job with 50 hours of hospital."
Means nothing.
It means nothing to nobody.
But, like, definitely, like, I feel like just a little bit of you could look some stuff up, just how, like, they do stuff in hospitals. But at the very least, after everything that happened, just one IV.
I do have to say one thing. I'm glad the mother doesn't blame him for what happened. And, like,
yeah, there's at least that.
Like, based on what happened early in the story, when I first, like, listened to it, because we didn't read it, we listened to it, like, somebody else reading it, but, they were just, like, drawing something while reading it. They were drawing Jeff while reading it, but, like, when I first heard it, I was like, really worried that they were gonna be like, no, you go to prison. And I was like, why? What did you do? And I'm actually very glad that they didn't blame it on Jeff. Jeff sat there with no vision, no idea of what his surroundings were. If his eyes aren't fucked up, which they aren't, even though he had bleach in them, they aren't fucked up. He burns his eyelids off later. Spoiler alert. But, there's no reason for them to be covering his eyes, and if there's no reason for bandages to be covering your eyes,
they won't
cover your eyes.
They did anyway.
Because that can be, like, really traumatic, waking up like that, like, not being able to see, and blind. You don't know where you are, and there's, like, beeping, so if it's not necessary, they're not gonna do it. And, like, I don't think his, like, upper nose was broken or, like, his eye socket or anything
honestly,
like that. I don't think there was any reason for it.
The whole situation is I think he probably had, like, a bloody nose or something because he did get hit with a vodka bottle, so maybe something happened with his face. But for the most part, he wasn't, like, nothing was broken. Like, he was just burned. Like,
he was stabbed,
he's in the burn
he was
ward,
burned, he fell down the stairs, but they didn't describe any injuries from that. Mostly it was just the bleach and the fire that I think got worst for him. Finally, after hours, he heard his mother. No, they would not leave a scared child just blind sitting in a hospital room. A nurse would probably sit with him.
But they did.
Until his parents show up, which why aren't his parents already there? But whatever.
Why are his parents there?
Honey, are you okay? She asked. Jeff couldn't answer, though. His face was covered. He was unable to speak. They also covered his mouth.
They covered his mouth, okay.
Oh, honey, I have great news.
Oh, honey, I have great news. I know everything's terrible. I know your whole face was burned off. And I know you can't speak to me. But I have great news.
After all, the witnesses told the police that Randy confessed of attacking you. They decided to let Lou go. Just the police.
Just the police, though.
This made Jeff almost bolt up, stopping halfway and remembering the tube coming out of his arm. It would not come out that easy. Did they just stick it in there and, like, not tape it down or something? They always wrap it down. Like, it's not coming out easy. And also, it hurts like a bitch.
It hurts.
Like, it's not how tubes work.
But
I know, like, most people, the person who wrote this probably has never been to the hospital and probably hasn't had a tube in their arm.
Luckily,
or seen somebody with a tube in their arm.
It's good that they've never had that.
But it's weird that they haven't watched, like,
one
House
medical show. One medical show.
Just, like, watch one episode of House, maybe, to prepare for this. He'll be out by tomorrow, and then you two will be able to be together again. Jeff's mother hugs Jeff, and then
that's such a weird way to
say
say
her
that
goodbyes.
She's leaving again?
She came, told him about Lou, and then immediately left. The next couple of weeks were those where Jeff was visited by his family. If anything breaks Jeff, it's probably the fucking solitary confinement that he's been put in. He can't speak, he can't see, and nobody's talking to him.
That's awful.
There is no way they wouldn't have, like, a rotation of nurses and family members talking to him constantly.
Like,
that's not how this works. Like, they would at least put on a TV or read him a book or something. Jesus.
And he's like 17.
Yeah, they would be extra nice to him because he's a kid. That's not how anything works. Oh, Jesus. Oh, I'm sorry. I know a lot about hospitals, so this is just kind of making me a little, Um, the next couple of weeks were those where Jeff was visited by his family. Then came the day where his bandages were to be removed. His family were all there to see it, and what he would look like. As the doctor unwrapped the bandages from Jeff's face, everybody was on the edge of their seats. They waited until the last bandage covering his face was almost removed. Let's just hope for the best, said the doctor. I fucking hate this doctor.
Listen,
he
you
quickly
should
pulls
know
the
what
cloth,
you did.
letting the rest fall from Jeff's face. I'm gonna keep reading. Jeff's mother screams at the sight of his face.
His mother is the worst human being.
By the way, he's
worst
describing
mother.
unwrapping a bandage and cloth from over his face, so clearly it's not a cast. I don't
not
know
a
why they
cast.
use that word.
But
Jeff's mother
his
screams at the
mother.
sight of his face. Lou and Jeff's dad stare, awestruck at his face. What happened to my face? Jeff said. He rushed out of bed and ran into the bathroom. One thing, here we go. I'm gonna talk about this fucking doctor real quick. So, I'm assuming he hasn't had any reconstructive surgery yet, because you do have to wait a while, let it heal most of the time. Sometimes it's better to do it straight away, but I'm assuming because of how this is, you would have to wait a while. But, like, here's the fucking thing. What is this doctor's bedside manner? Let's just hope for the best. There's nothing we can do about it.
Oh man, look how ugly you are. Oh.
We're not even gonna bring a mirror so you can see your face, which is what is customary.
We're gonna let
and
you
we're not
run
gonna
to the
be
bathroom.
like, and we're not gonna prepare you by saying, "Hey Jeff, it's probably gonna be scary. We don't know what it will look like, but it's not the end of the world. We will be able to give you reconstructive surgery. It's gonna be okay.
We're gonna
we
fix
can fix it."
No. Oh man. Oh, what's it gonna be? Like,
let's just hope, because there's no going back. Like, what is this doctor? This doctor pisses me off. And who the hell let him get up from the bed and run to the bathroom to look in a mirror?
Also, how can he run? He has third-degree burns all over his body.
How anything works. He looked in the mirror and saw the cause of the distress. His face, it's horrible. His lips were burnt to a deep shade of red. This is a Joker. His face was turned into a pure white color. That's not how fire works. And his hair singed from brown to black. That's also not how fire works. He slowly put his
hair was singed.
That's how his hair is black. It used to be brown. See, this would make a lot more sense if, it would make a lot more sense if his face was like a weird gray blackish color because of the burns, and then his hair was like a weird orangish color because of the bleach. The other way around doesn't make sense.
But the problem is, that's not what the character looked like. So they couldn't write it that way.
See, this just like you can't. This isn't the story for that picture.
Yeah, it
this
really
makes no
shouldn't
sense in terms of the picture. That's not how anything works. Like, seriously. He slowly put a hand to his face, and a sort of leathery feel to it now. He looked back at his family, then back at the mirror. Jeff,
he's in the
said
bathroom.
Lou, it's not that bad. Well, I'm assuming the door's open.
Yeah, true.
Not that bad, said Jeff. It's perfect.
Okay, something happened.
There's something that happened that wasn't explained. This is the moment.
See, because like he was like, oh god, he's looking at himself, and he's like, oh, it's horrible. And he's like, no, it's perfect. It's like, what?
His family were equally surprised. Jeff started laughing uncontrollably. His parents noticed that his left eye and hand were twitching. Jeff, are you okay? No. Nobody prepared him for this.
Nobody prepared him for this. This isn't
Nobody's trying to comfort him. They're just letting this happen.
Yeah,
I'm really
like,
sick of the passive other characters in the story.
Hey, yo, Jeff, you good? You good? I see that you're saying, you good, Jeff? You good?
Okay, I've never felt more happy. Ha 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 ha. Look, this is a weird amount of pause. Look at me. This face goes perfectly with me. He couldn't stop laughing. He stroked his face, feeling it, looking at the mirror. What caused this? Well, you may recall that when Jeff was fighting Randy, something in his mind, his sanity snapped.
You may recall.
Now he was left as a crazy killing machine. That is, his parents didn't know.
You may recall.
But also, he's a crazy killing machine. That's what made him snap. He's uncontrollable now. But also, he just sat still in his hospital for 2 weeks.
Yeah, but also he just sat still in a hospital bed for 2 weeks. Which is very fast for being in the burn ward.
Yeah. Doctor, said Jeff's mom, is my son alright, in the head? Oh, yes, this behavior is typical for patients who have seen very large amounts of painkillers. If his behaviors don't change in a few weeks, bring him back. I'm sorry. We'll give him a psychological test. I'm real sorry. But if the problem is painkillers, why is it gonna be a few weeks? Also, if somebody's acting this erratically on painkillers, I would assume that they have either too many painkillers or the wrong type of painkillers and they're having a weird reaction to it. And then he would be kept in the hospital and while they practice dosages to see if they can fix the problem.
Yeah,
they're not just going to be like,
home with some pills
he's
and
acting
like,
very
he'll be better in a
manic
week.
right now, and we're just going to let you take him home.
We're just gonna let you take him.
That makes no sense. That makes absolutely no sense. Oh, thank you, Doctor. Jeff's mother. Sue the doctor.
And also,
went over to Jeff.
also,
Jeff, sweetie, it's time to go.
Like, she's just like, hey, is he alright? In the head? Like, why would you ask it like that? Like, also, why would you do that? Oh, why would you? Why? Just why? What is this mother? Also, the dad has said nothing. The dad hasn't spoken once.
This next part is weird. Jeff looks away from the mirror. His face formed into a crazy smile. "K, mommy."
See,
Weird
okay,
amount of hospital.
has your child ever... Because here's the thing, he's 17, right?
Also, it says, ha ha ha. That's how I'm supposed to be reading it.
That's such a weird situation. Also, your 17-year-old child, who probably doesn't call you mommy anymore, looked at you and went, okay,
And the way the
mommy.
mother reacts. His mother took him by the shoulder and took him to get his clothes. That's a weird way to react, not like,
Just like, whoa.
we're just gonna get your clothes, Jeff. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah, like, I feel like you would react differently. Like, your son clearly
Nobody
is
reacts
showing
like
issues.
this. This is weird. "This is what came in," said the lady at the desk. Jeff's mom looked down to see black dress pants and white hoodie her son wore.
Why didn't she bring... Why didn't his family bring... Because that's what he came in wearing. Why
No,
didn't
but
his...
the way she said, "This is what came in," that's weird.
Yeah, but why... See, the bugs me. Why didn't his
Also,
parents...
the hoodie would be
bring
burned.
clothes?
Now they were clean of blood and now stitched together. That's not how hospitals work. They don't do that
for you. They throw
Honestly,
it away.
if there was a lot of blood and your clothes are already burned, they probably just throw them away.
Yeah, they don't keep those.
They wouldn't keep them. I mean, if you're going into a surgery,
The
you
only
change into
scenario-
a gown and you put your clothes into a baggie. They probably, if you come in with clothes and they end up tearing them and getting rid of them, unless you specifically like ask
Yeah, the
them
only
to not
scenario
like
where,
oh
like,
my god, I'm wearing my wedding dress
Yeah.
and something happened and you had to tear me out of the wedding dress. Please don't throw away the wedding dress. Then they'll keep it, probably, unless something's like, unless there's like
Yeah,
a bunch
unless
of
it's,
like
like-
weird fluids on it.
Unless it's like a disaster, like there's blood all over your wedding dress, which you're never getting that out. But like you have like your wedding
But
dress,
they
and
might keep it in that
tuck it.
case, but
Then,
like
like,
chances, but like with just like they came into the
Chances are
hospital,
they
they're just gonna get rid of it. They're not gonna keep it for you. They only do that if you come in like as a patient and then you get changed into a gown.
Yeah, you
and then you
change.
put your clothes
Not
into
if
a
you're
little
in the emergency
baggie
room.
with your shoes, and you put on different shoes, and then like once you're done with your surgery, you can change back into them. That's how things work.
like it's not. They don't keep it. If,
I
if
spent
it's
like 3 weeks in the ICU. So.
Yeah, that's not how that works.
I also had to fill the baggies.
Oh.
It's a very boring story. You just fold the gowns and you put them in baggies.
It's fun.
And you put those in a box.
50 hours in a hospital. 50 hours.
It was actually great.
Hey,
And
well,
little
you-
tangent right here. We went on a bunch of them, so I don't care. We're gonna do it. It was English class, and I needed to read Huckleberry Finn, which was the class after the class that we went to go to the hospital in, because this was a class. And so for my reading test, I wouldn't read the book at home, or I wouldn't listen to the audiobook at home. I would just wait till I went into the storage room, because I was really lucky. I got the storage room like specifically the time so that I needed to read Huckleberry Finn, and I would just listen to it for like an hour and a half of folding these gowns, which was awful, but whatever. Okay, they were clean of blood and not stitched together. Nope. His mother led him into his room and made him put on his clothes. See, why wouldn't a nurse or his mother go get the clothes and bring them back? Why would Jeff go with them and then go back to the room to get changed? That's weird. That's like a little thing, but it's really weird. Then they left not knowing this was their final day of life.
Oh, man.
Later that night...
You just gave it all away. You just gave that surprise all away.
Yep. Later that night, Jeff's mother woke to the sound coming from the bathroom. It sounded like as if somebody was crying. She slowly walked over to see what it was. When she looked into the bathroom, she saw a horrendous sight. Jeff had taken a knife and carved a smile into his cheeks. "Jeff, what are you doing?" said his mother. Jeff looked at his mother. "I couldn't keep smiling, Mommy. It hurt after a while. Now I can smile forever." Jeff's mother noticed his eyes, ringed in black. "Jeff, your eyes!" His eyes were seemingly never closing. I couldn't see my face. I got tired, and my eyes started to close. I burned out the eyelids so I could see myself forever.
So
my new face.
I'm sorry.
Jeff's mother slowly started to back away, seeing her son was going insane. "What's wrong, Mommy? Aren't I beautiful?" "Yes, son. Yes, you are. Let me get your daddy so he can see your face." She ran out of the room and shook Jeff's dad from sleep. "Honey, get the gun." She stopped when she saw Jeff in the doorway holding a knife. "Mommy, you lied." That's the last thing they hear as Jeff rushes them with the knife, gutting both of them. His brother Lou woke up, startled by some noise. He didn't hear anything else, so he just shut his eyes and tried to go back to sleep.
He just went back to sleep.
As he was on the border of slumber, he got the strangest feeling that somebody was watching him. He looked up before Jeff's hand covered his mouth. He slowly raised the knife to plunge it into Lou. Lou thrashed there and tried to escape Jeff's grasp. "Shh," Jeff said. "Just go to sleep." So,
Just, call back to the beginning.
So he did die. Never mind.
Just go to sleep. Oh, yeah.
Okay, we're done with it. But, so, there's another story that's like an OC character they made to be Jeff the Killer's girlfriend, and they made a very Jeff the Killer like story to go along with it, and in it she was sewing her eyelids open instead of burning them.
Either way, awful idea. You're blind now. You're blind.
And the mother, like, at this scene, it's weird for the mother to act like this, but it's not insane for the mother to act like this. But in that story, she was like sewing her eyelids open, and then she was like, "Hang on, Mom." And then I finished sewing my eye open forever.
Mom just waited for her to do it. She was just like, "All right, we wait for my daughter to." But just okay, just. There's not much else I can say because I've said it all. Honey, get the gun. Like, there's not much else I could say because I feel like the ending says it all. But it's just like, no. That's all I can say is no.
Reacts like that, though. And why did he kill his brother?
Yeah, he loved his brother. He loved his brother more than he loved his
parents. What
did
his brother do wrong? His brother took the fall for him. What did his brother do wrong? Poor Lou.
Go back to sleep.
Shh, go back to sleep.
Which is, I guess that's his calling card.
Also,
shh, go to sleep.
Just really quick with the eyelids thing. You are effectively ruined forever now.
You effectively blinded
yourself.
Because
you're blind. Because your eye can't get moisture unless you're constantly putting drops in them. Which means you're blind.
Which means you're blind.
And you would be very inefficient as a killer.
Very.
And I realized that picture was very scary. But
very scary.
Maybe you could just say he had very wide eyes or something. It was a very bad choice for you to just be like, burn him off.
Burn him off.
See, it didn't really look burned by the picture, and don't look up the picture.
Don't look up the picture. But
it looked more like they were weirdly sunken in. Which is why I would have gone with, like, he had, like, a face stretched over his face.
Either that, or the way I probably would have described Jeff the Killer is something supernatural. Like, that picture, I would go with supernatural. I wouldn't go with, it's just a normal kid.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's just, there's a lot of things that I just feel like it doesn't fit the picture. Mm-hmm. It doesn't fit what I assume is the criteria for Creepypasta. Maybe that's not the criteria. Maybe it doesn't have to be, you're inexperienced. But it has to be an urban myth, is what you're trying to do. It doesn't fit urban myth. It also just doesn't make any sort of sense for you've set up a character who is a serial killer, but in no way, shape, or form are they a serial killer.
Yeah. There's no reason for these sequence of events to equal serial killer. I realized I had a psychotic break that made no sense.
It would honestly just end up with a kid who ends up in a psych ward, probably.
Yeah.
Who, like, just needs help.
Which, I mean, this story could be kind of scary if that's what you were going for. But that's not what they went for. They were like, nah, he's evil, serial killer, he kills people. And it's like, no. If you're gonna have the kid be a victim the whole time, you have to have the kid be a victim the whole time. But then, he ends up in a psych ward. Then maybe after like years of like, maybe the psych ward's like
maybe
bad.
they mistreat him
in the
there.
Psych ward. Then maybe I would understand killing, maybe. But like I don't understand why he would do it for no reason.
Yeah, there's like no reason for him to like
he
do
just
this
jumps into
at
a kid's house. He just tries to kill him. He just kills his brother, even though he has nothing against his brother. Like, I kind of get the parents. The parents are shit, but like, why attack your brother? You love your brother.
You need reasons, and they haven't given us anything other than that he just has a feeling.
Yeah.
So, a feeling.
A feeling. A murder feeling.
There's just, some feelings.
He felt a pull, and the pull is towards murder. This is almost 2 hours, so we should stop it. But that was Jeff the Killer.
It's Jeff the Killer.
Fun stuff. Halloween episode.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Don't get that feeling.
Don't get that murder feeling.